New 72 Radio, the voice, views, and visions of the collective.
My name is Mary Berger, and I am with ComputerDiva, and welcome to Diva Talk. Tonight is Thursday, February 1st, 2018, and we are going live on Facebook as we speak, and we have a lot on the show tonight. I have a lot to tell you about, so let me start by telling you a little bit about me if you've never tuned into the show before. Like I said, my name is Mary Berger. My company is ComputerDiva. The show is called Diva Talk. And I talk about all things technology. And I am actually celebrating my 10th anniversary of being in business. My very first client, I was still working in the corporate world. And my very first client I met in December of 2007, and met her at a Christmas party. We exchanged names and phone numbers, and I went to her house a few weeks later, fixed her computer, and my business was started. Left the corporate world in October of 2009 and totally went out on my own, and I have been doing technology work ever since. So I fix and repair computers, and I also do managed services, which is automated maintenance, and that's my Diva Care line of products. So why am I in business? My big why, I'm working with somebody new who got me to sit down and craft my why of why I'm in business. And my why is I left corporate America so I could establish a business that would give my customers an IT experience rich in integrity, respect, and service. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to serve my clients. So with that said, Diva Talk is produced by New 72 Media. Kelly Lair is the producer behind the scenes. She's making sure everything runs smooth. And she's back there now, and hopefully everything will run smooth tonight, which I trust it will. And so, like I said, we are live on Facebook, and I've got it pulled up on my iPad over here to my right. So if you see me glancing off to the right, it's because I am just kind of checking it out. I'm just going to write a little message here. So if you have any questions for me, if you happen to be watching live and you have any questions for me, feel free to shout it out on the Facebook page. I will be glancing over there every now and then, and we'll answer any questions as they come up. And we will just dive in. So where can you reach me? You can reach me. My phone number is 360-567-8838. That's the business line. You can email me at support@computerdiva.biz. I also have an online calendar if you want to book an appointment with me, computerdiva.biz/appointments. You can also find me on Facebook at ComputerDiva and Instagram at ComputerDivaMJB. And that's how you can find me. I'm also on LinkedIn. I can't remember the exact name of the page. It's probably just Mary Berger. I don't spend a whole lot of time on LinkedIn. So if you need to get in touch with me, email or phone is the best way to reach me. So like I said, I have a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot of security news going on in the world of technology right now. And I want to start off by talking a little bit about Malwarebytes, which is an antivirus, anti-malware company. And I've used their software pretty heavily in the past. And they had an issue last weekend. I still have a lot of clients using Malwarebytes on their computers. They had an issue last weekend where they put out an update and it had a huge memory leak. And the result of it was for lack of a technical term, it was sucking up all the RAM on your computer, and it was crashing computers. So there for a couple of days, people who were running Malwarebytes as their antivirus, anti-malware engine were suffering pretty badly with Malwarebytes. They came out with a fix, I think, within 24 hours, and a reboot of your system would have fixed it. In some cases, it was 2 or 3 reboots, but it did fix the computer. If you are still suffering with a Malwarebytes issue, and you haven't rebooted your computer in the past week, which is fairly common. A lot of people don't really reboot their computers often. I do mine about once a week. Reboot your computer a few times and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, reach out to me with one of those contact pieces of information I gave a few minutes ago, and we will see what we can do to get that resolved for you. The next thing I want to talk about, there's some scams going around, and the one scam I wanted to talk to you about, actually there's a couple, but the first one I want to talk to you about, I've received a few reports of this, and I've been told through my research on the internet that it is it's actually going to ramp up a little bit, so you need to be aware of it. And it's basically, it's called a fake porn phishing alert. And basically the title would be an email that would come in your inbox, and it might have a subject line, something along the lines of, hey, did you see that fake AI porn movie of yourself? AI stands for artificial intelligence. So basically what's happening here is artificial intelligence and technology has kind of combined, where the scammers will take a true porn video and kind of put your face into the face of the porn star, and then send you an email saying, hey, there's these porn videos of you out on the internet, and if you want us to remove them, you will pay a certain ransom, if you will. You know, it's become easier and easier to kind of do Photoshop and other technologies to kind of combine images and video pieces together. But, you know, like I said, I've gotten a few phone calls about this from clients who have received this email, and of course, as you can imagine, freaked out about the fact that there might be a porn video out there, and with them as the stars. So what I'm going to say is, don't fall for this scam. Do not fall for it. If you get an email with this kind of message in it, don't click on any of the links. Just immediately delete the email from your system, and you'll be fine. It's a total scam. 99.9% of the people in the world won't have porn videos of them floating around the internet, so no need to worry about that. But you can understand how it would be a little frightening to get something like that. Okay, so Malwarebytes, who I talked about a few minutes ago, they released their State of Malware report in January. And according to their research, they say, well, ransomware has really been the big, what they want to call it, the IT boogeyman lately. Over the past few years, they seem to think this trend is going to be slowing down a little bit, and there's going to be fewer variants of ransomware that will be coming out in 2018. In fact, they said it kind of along the end of 2017, the new variants of ransomware started to slow down a little bit. But instead, the scammers out there, they're following a new line of technology and attack, and it all has to do with crypto mining. So what is crypto mining? So you've probably heard of Bitcoin, which is a type of currency out there, and I don't understand all the nuts and bolts of it myself, because I really haven't done a lot of research on it. But apparently, if you have the right type of computer, a powerful enough computer with a a very powerful GPU, which is a graphics processing unit, and you download the right software on there, you can do crypto mining, Bitcoin mining, or Bitcoin type currency mining. And from what I understand, you can start running your software. And so apparently the trading of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is such that there's a lot of calculations that need to be done to come up with the right price as one person trades with another. And you can use your computer to do those computations, and then you can get paid with a little tiny bit of cryptocurrency in return for your computer being used to do those calculations to come up with the price for the cryptocurrency. So the scammers of the world have come up with ways to put malware on your system to actually use your computer to do the crypto mining and do all the calculations, and they will profit from it. I've done a little bit of research on that in the past week and tried to figure out, okay, if you wanted to do crypto mining, how is that done? What kind of tools do you need? And really, the money you can make from that on a daily basis is, less than $5 a day, and you have to have a pretty powerful graphics processor unit, and the power that the computer takes, kind of takes away from the money that you would make from doing this. So it's not all that profitable, but you need to know that there are now pieces of malware out there that will take over your computer and use it as a cryptocurrency processor. So anyway, as news comes out about that, I will inform you of it on Diva Talk, future episodes. But I thought that was really interesting, really interesting. So moving on, I wanted to talk a little bit about back in January, there was a report and a discovery that was put out that had to do with the chipsets, the chips in your computer, Intel chips, AMD chips, that had some vulnerabilities, and they were quickly given a name, Spectre and Meltdown. And I kind of wanted to kind of take you through what that was all about, because this vulnerability in the chips affects everybody. I kind of touched on this in my episode 2 weeks ago, but it touches every single computing device. And that some computing devices are more vulnerable than others, but I have available to everyone, it's on my website, it's an ebook, and it is called Spectre and Meltdown Exposed, and how you will be affected. And it's really interesting how this works. So I kind of wanted to take you through this ebook and tell you what it's all about. So like I said, there's a design flaw in modern CPUs that was recently discovered and made public. And it's called Spectre and Meltdown. And the flaw is in the fact that your computer cache can be used to store very personal and private information like logins and passwords, bank account numbers, what have you. And the good news is that it has not been exploited yet. The vulnerability has been found, but nobody has written any code to exploit it yet. But now that it's been found and made public, you can bet that the scammers of the world are out there trying to come up with a piece of malware or a virus that will exploit this. So what is Spectre and Meltdown? And how do they work? So like I said, it's a vulnerability flaw. And I'm going to read a little bit from this white paper, this ebook that I have available. And I'll let you know when I'm finished talking about it where you can find this. But basically, to quote the ebook, your computer's CPU, which is its brain, does something called speculative execution. And basically, what it tries to do is it tries to anticipate what you might be needing in terms of information. So way back, more than 20 years ago, when these processors were first designed, they were designed to kind of recognize that when you are doing a particular task on your computer, it's kind of trying to second guess you and say, oh yeah, I think she's going to do this now, so let's pull up this information, so that information is ready for you before you actually need it, which actually speeds up your computer experience. So that they're trying to pull information together for you before you actually need it, and they're kind of going off on your habits. So it kind of makes your work easier. So imagine yourself walking into your favorite coffee bar every morning at 8 o'clock, and maybe you order the same cup of coffee, you order the same latte, the same espresso, the same cup of tea, what have you, every morning at 8 o'clock. So the baristas at the coffee shop kind of know, okay, Mary's going to be here at 8. When we kind of see her pull into the parking lot, let's start getting her coffee ready. And when she walks in, we'll have it ready to her and we'll say, good morning, Mary, here's your coffee. And so that's kind of what your computer is doing for you. The CPU of your computer is kind of doing the same thing. It's anticipating what it thinks you may need. And it may pull your login and password for your bank website out and put it in your computer cache and wait for you to need it. Because I know that the first thing I do every morning when I sit down in front of my computer is I open my QuickBooks, I download all my transactions from the day before, I'll log into my bank account, I'll check my bank balances. It's just my habit, it's how I start my day. So my computer anticipates that and pulls that information together for me and has it ready for me. But say one day I don't order the same cup of coffee from the coffee shop. I go in and I say, today I don't want a latte, I think today I'll have a cup of tea. So now that cup of coffee that they prepared for you, they have to throw it away. Well, your computer is the same way. That information that they pulled out for you that you may not be using, now they've got to get rid of it, but it stays in your cache for a little bit of time. So the anticipation is that the scammers of the world will create algorithms and viruses that will trick your computer's processor into pulling that information out even though you don't need it, and then they will start mining that information. So it's really important that you do whatever you can to keep your computers up to date. So what are we doing? How will you be impacted by this? Like I said, everybody can be impacted by this just by the fact that if you don't patch your systems with the patches that are coming out now, you could be vulnerable in case the scammers ever do come up with some sort of a virus. But all the major CPU manufacturing companies are scrambling to put together patches to fix this. So the current state of patches, let's kind of talk about that for a minute. Intel, they've developed and are rapidly issuing updates for all types of Intel-based computer systems, including personal computers and servers, that render those systems immune from both the exploits. So the Spectre exploit is the one that could possibly get that information kind of in your computer's cache and leave it sitting there. And then the Meltdown exploit is the one who swoops in and grabs all of that data from your computer cache. So Intel is in the process of putting together patches for their various processors. Apple has been very proactive about coming up with patches. They have an update for Safari, which, let's see, it says an update for Safari is available and updates to iOS 11.2, macOS 10.13.2, and tvOS 11.2 have been released. The 2 Mac computers I have in my office, I do know in the past few weeks, there have been continuous patches that I've applied to them. What's interesting is I have a brand new laptop. It's an HP Pavilion laptop that I bought 3 weeks ago. And I tried to update the BIOS and it failed. And I know the latest Windows patches have failed on my laptop as well. I know that a lot of the patches have been problematic. I know that because the companies are scrambling to get those patches out there, that there's a lot of issues. I've actually had to fix a couple of computers that have been completely hosed because of a patch that's been installed. So it's not something you want to just, rush into, yet it kind of is. It's not a good situation. I don't have a good answer for you there. So that's Intel and Apple. AMD, another large chip manufacturer, they initially advised that their CPUs were not vulnerable at all, but have since acknowledged that Spectre is a potential threat to their systems, and they're working on a patch. Microsoft, it says here, Microsoft was quick to release updates for Windows 7, 8.1, and 10, and various Windows Server versions. Updates for older versions are not being released and are working on a patch. And then, of course, it goes on to say patches for unaffected chips from NVIDIA, which is a graphics chip. IBM and AMD are also being rolled out to ensure those systems don't place others at risk. All sorts of software developers are also releasing emergency patches. It's a wild, crazy, confusing time in terms of patches right now. All we can do is kind of write it out and see how it goes. I have no magic wand for fixing issues that result from these patches. So it's kind of the Wild West here in terms of computers. So what is your impact? I asked that a few minutes ago. If you have a Windows 10 computer with a newer CPU, your impact is going to be negligible, just because of the way those CPUs are constructed and the software that goes along with them. Windows 10 with an older CPU, noticeable decrease in performance. And because these patches are coming out, especially the Windows patches, they're coming out and they're stopping the CPU from caching all this data. So naturally, it's going to take a little bit longer for your computer to actually process this data, go out to the hard drive, pull it up, and bring it into your computer's cache. So there will be some degradation in performance with the older computers. Windows 7 and 8 with older CPUs, those will be the computers that will have the most noticeable decrease in performance. And Windows servers can have a significant impact. I don't know what the moral to this story is, except that if you have a fairly new Windows 10 computer, you're not going to notice much degradation in speed on your computer. How can you stay protected? Well, the attacks, once they are written and they start to be released out there, like I said, they haven't been written yet and they haven't been released, but once they are, they're going to come through malware and viruses, and you need to be really, really vigilant with your virus protection program. I'm going to tell you here right now that free antivirus, free anti-malware is not going to cut it for you anymore. It used to be that the free antivirus and anti-malware packages did a really good job on your computers. No more. There's too much at stake here. The scammers have gotten very sophisticated, and it is time to move off the free packages and purchase some really strong antivirus and anti-malware software. And of course, I have an option for you. My DivaCare antivirus and my DivaCare packages will do a really nice job for you. So be diligent about your antivirus software. Make sure you install all software updates for your computer. I can't express that highly enough. You need to install all patches, even though there is a chance that a patch is going to cause an issue with your system. You still need to be diligent and install those patches. Make sure your firmware is up to date. Now, that's not something that most people are very comfortable doing, but I'd be happy to help you out with that. And of course, if your system is old, it might be time to bite the bullet and buy a new system. There are a lot of computers out there running Windows 7. I have tons of clients still running Windows 7. And now might be the time for you to start thinking about replacing your Windows 7 computers. Windows 7 will go out of support with Microsoft in a little less than 2 years. I think it's January, I don't remember the exact date, but January of 2020. So you have just slightly less than 2 years before Windows 7 goes out of support by Microsoft. You really want to start planning, especially if you're a business, you want to start planning the replacement of your Windows 7 computers now. Don't wait until the last minute, because everything will be rushed. People will be, buying up those new computers. My time will be heavily booked once Windows 7 goes out of support. And Windows 7 is such a popular operating system. Everybody loves Windows 7. So it's kind of hard to let it go. It was like when Windows XP was close to being out of support. Everybody loves Windows XP. Well, nobody runs it now, except for those rare few individuals. So upgrade your systems, or at least start thinking about it. So anyway, this ebook that I'm making available to all of my customers, I just posted it on my website this morning. And if you actually go to my Facebook page, you will see a link to it. And on my news page, I actually have a link to it. If you go to ComputerDiva.biz and then you click on news, one of my blog postings that I posted this morning has this ebook on it. So you want to make sure you get your hands on a copy of this. It explains everything that you need to know. So where else are we? I know that we have, let me get to the right spot here. Okay, so I came across a really interesting, here it is. One of the most frequent phone calls I get is from people saying that they have received this pop-up screen on their window, and that it is telling them that they have, their computer has, I don't know, a gazillion different viruses, and it needs to be cleaned up, and call XYZ number that's on the screen, and they will help you out. Well, it's a scam. We all know it's a scam. And I actually found some information on the internet this morning, and I believe it was from the FCC website, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, I'll correct it later. But anyway, they had this really nice little infographic that was kind of the anatomy of a tech support scam. It's titled, How to Spot a Tech Support Scam. And I actually have taken this infographic and I've made a blog post out of it. And I've put their text in with it. And so anyway, the kind of gist of this report is that, so it starts out with the tech support scam always comes from an infected website. And the infographic is really awesome. It kind of tells you how to look at your address bar and tell whether or not you're on a legitimate site, and what to do once the box pops up. And but they're trying to entice you into calling them, allowing them into your computer, and then of course if you do allow them into your computer, they are going to place something on your computer, that will actually cause some harm. So first of all, they're going to pretend that they're from a very well-known company. They're going to pretend that they're from Microsoft, from Dell. They're going to try to convince you that they're legitimate. They're going to use a lot of technical terms with you and try and baffle you with that. And they are going to ask to get onto your computer. Once they've convinced you that their computer has a problem, they might ask you to give them some credit card information. They will trick you into installing some actual malware on your system that will then kind of render your computer useless, and they will try and point the particular screens out to you, and they will try and convince you that they are the people who can fix this for you. All you have to do is let them into your computer and give them your credit card. And they may even direct you to various websites to enter your credit card information instead of giving it to them over the phone. They basically want to get access to your money and get access to your computer, because once they have access to your computer, they can actually get access to more of your money. If you get an urgent call from someone who is claiming the same thing, it's not a real call. Don't rely on caller ID to determine whether it's legitimate or not. Caller ID spoofing has gotten to the level where it will spoof your area code and maybe the first 3 or 4 digits of your actual phone number, making you think that it might be, you know, somebody in the neighborhood. So don't fall for that. If you actually get a phone call like this, just hang up on them right away. Just don't even talk to them. Make sure you're very diligent with your antivirus software. Never share your passwords with anybody. And if you happen to have been scammed and you've let them onto your computer, you need to immediately run a scan with your antivirus or anti-malware software. Delete anything that was installed on that day. You can go into your control panel to your program listing, and you can sort it by install date, and you can see exactly what was installed on the same date that you got that phone call, and you can remove all of it. You can call your credit card company and have them reverse the charges because you were scammed. And ftc.gov/complaint is the website that you want to go to report any of these scams. FTC, not FCC. Now, the kicker to this, it could be several months after you were scammed that you may get a phone call from the same people claiming that they now owe you a refund because they realized that the money they took from you wasn't legitimate and that it should be refunded to you. They will then try and direct you to a website where you can put in your credit card information to get a refund onto that card. Well, they're not refunding anything onto your credit card. In fact, they are actually going to take money out of your credit card again. So be very leery of anybody who calls you claiming they wanted to give you a refund. Awesome. So Kelly posted on the live Facebook feed the link for the ebook. Thank you very much, Kelly. I appreciate that. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was actually one of the blog postings that I put up on my website this morning, laptop versus desktop, and maybe Kelly can pull out that blog posting as well. But I deal with a lot of people who are looking to replace their computers. And one of the most common questions I get from them is, do you think I should buy a laptop or a desktop? And so I kind of walk them through an exercise, various questions that is designed to kind of, direct them towards the proper choice for what their needs are. Laptops are extremely popular. Most people for their home computers will have a laptop. There's still quite a few people out there who have desktops for their home computers, but it's a personal preference. So how do you know whether or not you should be buying a laptop or a desktop? So the first question I ask people is, how portable do you need your computer to be? Of course, laptops are easier to move around than your desktop. You can pick them up, you can pop them into your backpack, you can take them on a trip. But your desktops, of course, are not portable. You're not going to be taking those on trips with you. So that's usually the first question I ask. Do you need to be traveling with your computer? And if you are, then the laptop is your obvious choice. The one thing you need to know about laptops is that their processing speed is slightly degraded from a desktop. Because laptops that you travel with, they're increasingly over the years designed to be as lightweight as possible. The lightweight aspect of the laptop kind of takes away from the processing power. If you've noticed, if you've been shopping for laptops anytime in the past few years, a lot of them are not even equipped with CD drives anymore. The CD drive takes up space and doesn't allow the laptop to be as thin as it possibly could be, and it also adds weight to it. And you know, if you think about it, a lot of software is just not released on CD anymore. Most of the software that you install on your computers is downloaded from the internet. So CD drives are becoming less and less necessary than they had been in the past. Your processor is going to be, you know, not quite as fast as a desktop processor. So the other thing you want to think about is you want to think about the price that you're going to pay and the power that you need from the laptop. A desktop is always going to give you more power for less money. They have large cases, which allows for more room for upgrades, more room for real quality, high-speed components in them. Bob, can you close that door? Thanks. And the desktop computers are less prone to overheating. So the laptop computers are going to be running a little bit more warm side than your desktop computers are, and probably a little bit noisier than your desktop computers. So if you're if you're a gamer and you play a lot of games, then you're going to want to opt for a desktop computer over a laptop computer. They're able to control the heat a lot more, and the games take up a lot of processing power, graphic processing, and so they need to have some pretty heavy-duty fans in them in order to handle those games. So if you were thinking about a laptop, you want to think about your screen size. The super ultra portable laptops are going to have the smaller screens, anywhere between 11 and 15 inches. And the larger, more powerful laptops between 15 and 17 inches. Of course, because of the bigger screen, they're going to be a little bit heavier. And they're going to be a little bit less portable. Your desktop monitors will, they probably average out. I'm looking at mine here. I've got a couple of monitors here. I think they're 24-inch monitors. So I've got a laptop sitting here in front of me with a 24-inch monitor above it. I actually have a Mac sitting over here to the left of me. It's a Mac Mini, and it's got, I think, a 23-inch screen on it. So your desktop computers can handle those larger screens. And like I said, with my example here, I have a laptop that really is, it never comes off my desk, and it's attached to a pretty large monitor. So But if I were to take my laptop on the road with me, you know, my criteria was when I bought this laptop, I wanted a 17-inch screen. But I settled for a 15, and I'm really happy with the 15. I think I talked about that at my last show. And so then the other thing you want to talk about is kind of your working comfort with the laptop. If the laptop is going to be used for your office work, you want to make sure that you ergonomically your work environment is set up to accommodate the laptop. And mine probably isn't all that great because it's sitting just a little bit low, and I probably should have it elevated a little bit, but the main monitor I use is right up here. So I'm not hunched over looking at the screen a lot, because, you know, I'm usually sitting back here with my mouse and I'm looking up at the monitor up here. But you want to make sure that your environment is as comfortable and as ergonomically friendly as possible, so that you don't end up with a lot of aches and pains and stress injuries. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kelly, for posting those links. So anyway, that is, I'm going to have a little bit of a shorter show this week than I did last week. Last week I packed so much in, but I wanted to kind of keep it a little bit short this week because the content was a little bit intense in terms of the security. So anyway, my next show will be 2 weeks from tonight, February 15th, 7 p.m. Same time, same place. Kelly will be behind the scenes producing for me. Just a little kind of an aside here. I do have a special going on with my DivaCare software, my DivaCare, which is my managed services, automated maintenance for computers. My DivaCare Pro product, I've got a special running this month where if you subscribe to DivaCare Pro, your first month is only $1. Normally it's $33 a month. You get your first month for $1. That's really kind of a bargain. And it automates all of your computer maintenance for you and provides you with your antivirus, anti-malware software. And if you need to call me about your computer for any maintenance related reason, those phone calls are free. I don't charge you for any phone calls you make to get assistance from me. So it's a big bargain, and so if you're interested in taking advantage of that, I've got all sorts of ads running on my Facebook page, and feel free to contact me and let me know if you are interested in signing up. So with that said, I want to say a huge thank you to Kelly Lair and New 72 Media for making it possible for me to do this radio show every other week. It's a lot of fun to do, and I enjoy bringing you all this information. So I will say good night for now, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.